Tonight on Let It Rip, the ball is about to drop on the new year, 2024 already, proving to be a jam-packed year with presidential politics taking center stage, including late-breaking news of former President Trump potentially being taken off the ballot in Maine. Our Let It Rip panelists have a lot to say about whether Trump or Biden are ready for battle. Plus, a UAW strike paralyzing the big three, setting the stage for a new way of doing business. And a crowded ring of candidates want a shot at Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow's soon-to-be empty seat. Plus, the big three and the president say the future is all electric, but not all dealers are seeing the surge in customers. What's in store for 2024? Our panel dives in, starting now. Time now to Let It Rip with Detroit City Councilwoman Mary Waters, former State House Majority Leader Rocky Rechkowski, conservative consultant Jamie Rowe, and live via Skype, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. Fox 2 anchor and attorney Charlie Langton join us as well. We have a lot to get to, including some breaking political news out of Maine, where the Secretary of State there essentially came out and said Donald Trump shouldn't be on the ballot because he was part of the insurrection. Here we go with another state. First, Colorado Supreme Court. Now we have Maine. I'll start with Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. You were the victim of the latest social media attack from Donald Trump, the man who's in the news tonight. Your thoughts on the Secretary of State in Maine going after the former president, saying you shouldn't be on the ballot? Does she have any credence to this?
You know, I think each state has its own rules, its own laws in the primary system. We've had states like Michigan that have ruled that it can be on the ballot, other states that haven't. We're in the primary season. It will be a different issue when it comes to who's going to be on the general election ballot.
But the exact words that the Secretary of State used is that Mr. Trump was aware of the tinder laid by his multi-month effort to delegitimize the Democratic election and then chose to light a match. Congresswoman Dingell, did he do that?
Yes, I think that he did. I am going to, and that's why Donald Trump is always mad at me. But the fact of the matter is that I think that the election in this country is going to have a lot of issues. There's a lot of distrust in public institutions, and I hope that we have an election where people pay attention, know what's at stake, and that the will of the people is expressed next November.
Rocky Rechkowski, when you take a look...
Well said, by the way. The will of the people, I like that one.
Well, hold on, but when you look at the person who's in charge of making sure that the will of the people is honored correctly, the Secretary of States across the country, including Jocelyn Benson, including the Secretary of State in Maine. Sure. Do you think that she's speaking the truth? Do you think that she has reason to believe that Trump shouldn't be on the ballot?
You know, I agree with Debbie when she said that it should be the will of the people. Let the people decide, not a single Secretary of State making a decision that wasn't found out in court, wasn't something that was adjudicated. And most importantly, if you read the actual article that was posted about this Secretary of State in Maine, she actually says that this is her ruling, but she's postponing it until the Supreme Court makes a decision, which obviously the Supreme Court will make the right decision and will reinstate Trump on all the ballots.
Mary Waters, Councilwoman, you've been in politics for many, many years. When you look at this on both sides, do you think both our political system and the justice system is being weaponized against politicians who people don't like?
Yeah, I do. And let me just say, as a former Democratic floor leader, I never thought I'd be agreeing with you, Rocky. But
you're a good lady.
But the truth of the matter is, it's about democracy, and the people should decide. Listen, we are not going to be any better than Donald Trump if we try and dictate to him any more than we want him to be a dictator if he should become president. We don't want those kinds of things, so we cannot conduct ourselves that way. Let the people decide. Let democracy, I believe in democracy 100%.
But if you believe in democracy, do you believe in the laws and the law of the land? When you look at the, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, Jamie Rowe, you've read Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Do you see why the Secretary of State in Maine is saying what she's saying?
I think the Secretary of State in Maine has gotten it dreadfully wrong. The fact of the matter is Donald Trump's never even been charged with insurrection. He's never been a part of an insurrection. And that is what that section of the 14th Amendment addresses. So it is absolutely ridiculous. People who constantly preach to us about how they're going to protect democracy, trying to deny the people the right to vote for the candidate of their choice is simply wrong. Colorado and Maine are off the deep end of the left, and I'm thankful that the Michigan Supreme Court at least got it right.
Are you thankful to Jocelyn Benson, too?
Excuse me?
Are you thankful to Jocelyn Benson as well, our Secretary of State, for saying what she said, saying that Donald Trump should be on the ballot in Michigan?
Sure.
She did the right thing.
There's due process. Everybody deserves due process, including the former president.
Yes.
And until that happens, unless he's convicted of something, what's the fuss about?
Charlie Langton, does Donald Trump survive all of this? I'm talking about all of the court cases that have yet to be adjudicated, the verdicts that have yet to come down. Does he survive this?
Yes. And I don't know who's running the Democratic Party, but they're stupid. Whoever would take this case to the courts. We're weaponizing the democratic process in the courts. The only one that's going to win is Donald Trump. And the Democrats don't want that.
That's right.
Make him bigger than ever.
Congresswoman Dingle, we know for a fact, Congresswoman Dingle, that every time Donald Trump is in the news, and especially when he's being attacked, his poll numbers go up. This is helping him, isn't it?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Charlie, I don't know what court case you're talking about. I don't think anybody's above the law. And I think several of the cases pending against Donald Trump are fair and valid. He's got a right to due process. Those court cases have to play out. I think people have a legitimate right to take...
But I want to ask you this. This is helping Donald Trump, isn't it, Congresswoman Dingle? This is helping Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump loves this, yes?
But we've got to get people to... Donald Trump loves it, but we've got to get people to pay attention to what Donald Trump is saying. I think too many people are tuning out. He plays to the worst in people, and I want to make sure that people understand what is at stake in the next election year. And I'm always going to choose civility over cruelty, period. And I hope
but we don't want judges doing this.
We'll do the same thing.
Debbie,
we are normalizing.
But the problem in this, the Maine Secretary of State, largely in that opinion of hers, relied on the House and the congressional report, which is largely partisan, voted on party lines. That is never admissible in any court case, and this is not right. Never been charged, nothing. I think this is a political disaster for the Democrats, and I don't think Trump is the right candidate necessarily.
All right, I want to talk about the border. I want to talk about the border right now because this is also big in the news. We have, leadership from Mexico sitting here in the U.S. talking about, hey, look, we have a problem here. We have an issue here, admitting that, but we had 7,000 plus people illegally cross the border in just a matter of 24 to 36 hours. This problem is not getting any easier. And the one thing that wasn't talked about between the Mexican president and Joe Biden was fentanyl. The number of young people in this city, by the way, in our region, that are being hurt and killed by fentanyl. Mary Waters, is this irresponsible of Anthony Blinken, our Secretary of State, President Biden, to not even talk about the biggest crisis that we're being dealt with right now?
And it's hurting us right here in the city of Detroit. Them bringing it over from China and from Mexico, it is killing people right here in this city. The Biden administration actually has done a pretty horrible job when it comes to addressing the border. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I want to see happen at that border. I want to see people treated in a humane manner. I don't care who's in charge in the presidency. I want, don't be hurting people as though they are cattle. They deserve to be treated with dignity, and we should do that.
Where's the balance between humanity and the rule of law? Congresswoman Dingle, when you look at this problem that we're dealing with right now, yes, you got to treat people humanely. This country was built on that. We know that. We treat our prisoners with humanity. At least we should, and I hope that's the case. But when you take a look at this crisis right now, Vice President Kamala Harris is being called a failure on every level when it comes to this, only having visited the border once. Are you disappointed in the Vice President with her performance when it comes to this issue?
Okay, I'm going to be very blunt. We have needed comprehensive immigration reform for decades. Republican presidents,
but is the Vice President responsible for that as the borders are, Congresswoman? Congresswoman, is the Vice President responsible for that, right? We can't get the
Republicans into Congress.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
I'm going to tell you something. We can't get the Republicans in Congress to even agree to immigration reform. We need to do something. We got to work together. It is a crisis.
Debbie.
We got to worry about humanitarian issues and our national security.
So how do you do that, Rocky? How do you do that?
wait a minute. First off, what is the problem with enforcing the laws that are on the books? What is the problem? Where is the immigration reform and where is our immigration system broken? We have laws that are not being followed, and that's the problem. We have a president that is not willing to enforce the border and allowing people to come in and then releasing them to sanctuary cities.
What does Donald Trump do if he's elected into office differently than Joe Biden right now?
Build the wall.
Well, he said he wouldn't. He didn't.
No, he did not build that wall.
We had a secure border when President Trump left office because of the Remain in Mexico policy.
That is number one.
For people who were seeking asylum into this country had to be cleared and approved before they were allowed to enter the country.
That's right.
President Biden has thrown the door open on day one of his administration, which has allowed countless millions of people to come in, and that fentanyl, which kills 100,000 Americans every year. Reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, and then maybe you can talk about this other immigration reform. But I want to see some in
Democratic cities that are led by Democratic mayors like Chicago and New York that are basically saying we may have a problem with the sanctuary city concept.
Listen, I'm not going to blame the Biden administration for this entire thing. Let me tell you, this border has been an issue for many, many years.
But it's gotten worse under the Biden administration, has it not?
Nobody has gotten it right, and why not?
It's the worst.
Why can't people get it right?
Let's take a sharp turn and talk about the UAW for a moment.
Yeah.
We only have a minute and a half left here. I want to talk right to you, Councilwoman. The UAW, Sean Fain, people thought he was nuts for asking for the things he did the way he did, holding essentially the big three by the throats, and he won, didn't he?
He won, and you know what? Strikes work. They do work. They work every single time.
Politicians wouldn't want to strike.
And let me tell you, it doesn't just benefit those who are members of the union, it also benefits non-unions. Every time the union workers get an increase, so will the non-unions. I know firsthand because I'm an organizer, UAW organizer for Local 2500. Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Jamie, I know that many people on the conservative end of this are saying, wait a minute here, you're asking for too much money, you're asking for too much. At the end of the day, this not only worked for the big three when it comes to Sean Fain, now there's non-unionized plants down south that are saying, our turn. He has set the course of history into a whole new path, hasn't he?
Without question. I think that collective bargaining is a right. If the workers want to utilize it, it is their right to do so, and they did it in this case. But what's going to kill them long-term?
EVs.
The EV mandates that this administration is putting
I'm going to give the last word to Congresswoman Dingell. We only have about 20 seconds left here. Are we going too fast with the EVs? We got to pump the brakes on this, yes?
We don't have to pump the brakes. Global climate is real. What we've got to do is make sure that the infrastructure and what's needed to help make EVs succeed is there. And I'm committed to cleaning up our environment and making sure we have a future.
Congresswoman Dingell.
We've got a plan for our next generation.
We thank you for your time here today and all year long here on Let It Rip. We thank you, Rocky, Mary, Jamie. Thank you, all of you, for joining us.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Go Lions, absolutely.
Go
Happy
Blue.
New Year,
And thank you, Sherry Gay Dagnogo.
That's right.
For all of your hard work on redistricting.
We got a lot of wrapping up here to do. Let me tell you something. I never thought I'd be talking. What are we talking about? Go Blue, according to Debbie, if you heard her there. We want to talk about redistricting. It is a big story, the one that keeps the conversation going. On the other side of the break, we're going to be talking about this particular person's seat that so many people are after right now. Yes, Senator Debbie Stabenow is retiring. Who should take that seat? We're going to take a look at that side of the debate when we come back. One of the guests was asking if this is a new format. No, we're not hitting 9 topics in every show. It just happens to be the end of the year show. James David Dixon, redistricting. Crystal ball, what happens moving forward?
I think everyone needs to know that Michigan has a racially gerrymandered legislature right now. It was the Democrats who benefited from it and the Republicans who stopped it, and it's not going to happen like that going forward.
Ellie?
Well, it's anybody's guess as to what happens next. It seems like the commission is going through some turmoil and is unable to appeal at this point. My fervent hope is that whatever districts are drawn, they need to be drawn in a racially equitable fashion, that it can happen sooner rather than later so we can vote on the appropriate
We didn't hear from Jason on this topic, so please go ahead. You have 15 seconds.
Well, remember, it was the legislature that was drawing these lines, and progressive interest groups funded a change to create this new commission that would make everything smooth. The first thing they did was disenfranchise black voters legislators in Detroit at the state senate and the congressional level. That's why the maps are getting tossed out. So this independent commission didn't fix anything. It actually broke a system that wasn't broken.
Way too technical.
Systemic
Way too technical for
racism
Andy.
drew those lines, and because of that, the Democrats, and it breaks my heart because the Democrats have forgotten about their most loyal group,
And that
blacks.
the group that deserves to have a chance to
That's
vote
right.
like everybody else. And of course, that's what this country was built on. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us. But look,
And it could be
the
Peter
Lions
Meyer.
can bring us together. We say this about the Lions, whether you're red or you're blue, we're all Honolulu blue when it comes to the Lions. Go Lions in 2024. That does it for this edition of Let Her Roll.